and welcome to Global Eye, a program that brings you in-depth investigations and reporting from teams across the BBC World Service. I'm Marika Oy, host of the World Service's Asia-Pacific podcast, and I'm based in Singapore. This city-state has long been regarded as a gateway between East and West, thanks to its strategic position at Asia's crossroads. In this week's program, we'll be bringing you an investigation from the region's dominant superpower, China. The I team has exposed a network of disciplinary schools inside China, revealing how they colluded with parents to abduct troubled teens, forcing them into military-style regimes to fix them at a devastating cost.
他说不会有任何殴打、体罚、打骂，但其实基本上你进这个学校里面，你无时无刻都在体罚。你的舞蹈或者是你的一些军体拳，不整齐，做得非常差，那么都会迎来体罚。
And we'll take you to India, where a growing number of girls are challenging the practice of child marriage, using sport to forge their own futures.
मेरी सोच है कि मैं अपनी गांव की लड़कियों को बाहर निकाल पाऊंगी, मतलब शादी को उनकी रोक पाऊंगी कि मतलब शादी तो करेंगे उनकी, लेकिन उनके सपने तो पूरे करेंगी वो कि मुझे क्या बनना है, अपनी लाइफ में क्या करना है.
China's footprint in Southeast Asia is vast. The country has been Singapore's largest trading partner for more than a decade, and roughly 3/4 of Singapore's population is ethnically Chinese, making it distinct in Southeast Asia. But in a region determined to balance the influence of the world's two superpowers, China and the United States, Singapore walks a diplomatic tightrope, maintaining a strong economic and cultural relationship with China while seeking to preserve its neutrality. And this is a part of the world that faces an urgent challenge. The UN predicts that by 2050, 1 in 4 people in Asia and the Pacific will be over 60 years old. Arguably, nowhere is that demographic crisis as stark as China, whose birth rate sunk to a record low last year amid shrinking government benefits for its rapidly aging population and a slowing economy. China scrapped its one-child policy 10 years ago, and in 2021 announced couples were allowed to have 3 children, but that hasn't boosted its fertility rates. Singapore is also dealing with a creeping demographic crisis. Its fertility rates remain low, and this year it's set to become a super-aged society, with more than 1/5 of its population aged 65 or over. China has the world's largest state-run education system, but according to the country's Ministry of Education, in 2023, there were over 167,000 private education institutions with almost 50 million students enrolled. Every year across the country, thousands of troubled teens attend disciplinary schools, part of a lucrative industry, promising anxious parents that military-style discipline will resolve everything from concerns over disobedience and depression to gender and sexual identity. But undercover filming and eyewitness testimony has revealed the devastating cost.
Thousands of teenagers in China attend disciplinary schools like these.
我妈妈就已经被教官就是带出校园了，我就发现我出不去了。
They promise to correct problem behavior.
家长已经教育不了这个孩子，我们如何去把这个孩子来教好？
But behind the high fences and locked gates, violence and abuse is common.
像这样的事情，我在里面一共遭受过3次。
而且他会拿一条比较长的那种水管，把那个水管举过头顶，然后使劲往下一打。
Undercover footage exposes the people making a fortune from the schools.
这个行业它的利润是非常大。就光我这个理念，1年我不收多少，招100个没问题了，就3万块钱一个就300万。
Bao Bao was 14 when the relationship with her mother started to break down.
我跟我的妈妈是基本上2天一小吵，5天一大吵这样子，因为当时我已经有了比较重的厌学情绪， 然后我妈就说带我去一个新的学校去认识新的朋友，可能会更好一点。
Enshu was 19 when she started to have problems with her parents.
就是我是一名跨性别女性，从小的时候起就一直在这种很高压的家庭环境下长大。其实他们对我的期待一直是很高的。在我还在上幼儿园的时候，然后那个时候我妈就经常跟我说，就是你长大以后一定要考清华。然后，但其实我那个时候都不知道清华北大是什么。高考完了之后，已经从家里就离开了。他们其实就是可以说是丧失了对我的一个掌控吧。
Bao Bao and Enshu were sent to disciplinary schools by their parents. Over the past 20 years, there has been a boom in these military-style schools across China.
在这里没有手机，没有电视，更没有父母的溺爱，这里只有艰苦的训练、严格的教官和紧张的作息时间。
The private schools offer a quick fix to parents struggling with the teenagers' behavior.
哪个孩子不听话还跟爸爸妈妈顶嘴？把他给我送过来。
他说就是叛逆、网瘾、网恋，然后同性恋，然后或者是比如说自己是认为自己是跨性别，任何一种青春期可能有的孩子的这种不听话，只要你给钱，基本上都能往那里送的。
The schools Bao Bao and Enshu attended were run by a military veteran called Li Zheng.
我们要做到有教无类，不管是学习成绩好的，还是学习成绩稍微差的，我们作为一个教育工作者来讲，都要一视同仁，都要用我们的爱心和耐心去教育和感化他们。
Since founding his first disciplinary school in Hunan in 2006, Li Zheng's group has expanded to at least 10 schools across 4 provinces. Staff often conspire with parents to trick their children into the schools. Undercover footage filmed by a woman posing as a concerned mother reveals the tactics Li Zheng's network uses.
哎，你好。
带好手机。
哎呀，好远。
哎，记得哟，向阿友好。阿姨好。现在新伢子是什么情况呢？
穷。
啊，不够读书。
档案。
档案。
15岁都16岁了哦。
啊。
直接开到我的车去了。
他晓得你把他送过来学校？
不晓得，他不晓得，我冇跟他讲的。
哦，那不能跟他。
我冇跟他讲的。
我们上门接的话，我们会依照善意的反应，不会讲是把他接到学校里面来。他也在外面有的时候，我就讲他喜欢网络监管局的啦，需要他配合我们调查啦，是敢把他带起走，晓不？如果抽不过来的话，我们就直接就是几个人就是敢抓到他，然后起来叫我们把他搞上车。
那他把接过来，那他内心里面会。
我们有新的老师来的，新伢子一过来，我们就会分1对1的新的老师。
The abductions are not only used on children. In July 2024, Zhang Enshu was 19 when she was abducted into a Li Zheng school.
就准备坐车去到乡下那边去给我外婆扫墓，一共是3个教官就直接过来了，说自己是这个警察，我的这个个人信息被人盗用了，拿去做了这个诈骗，说让我配合调查。强行的就把我塞到了车里。我被抬走的时候，我的父母是在旁边的，但是他们全程就看着，也没有说一句话，冷漠的就看着。
We have found over a dozen survivors who claim they were abducted and sent to a Li Zheng school.
你可以看一点，告诉我们在学校里头的简介了，我们这个学校办的时间还办得比较久了，
办得好，我也是。
上个好几年了。
哦。
师资力量呢，规模啊，都一直是比较好的，在湖南来讲都是数一数二的咯。
要调的话，他大概要调好久了。
最少半年前的屋里找的情况的话。
最少半年。
对。
半年的保证可以搞好不？
但是我们是有一个3年的质保，就是讲你半年在这里改好的的，回去如果变得原来的样子，你即使送过来，我们是不收学费的，他只收一点生活费。但是一般的就是讲80%、90%以上的家长，新伢子回去都能够达到他的预期，他也冇再送过来的，晓不？ 这边说有监控的，食堂呢、礼堂呢、教室呢、篮球场呢，看到吗？
Students are constantly monitored. They say parents can view the CCTV footage from home.
有监控，但是不得家长开反映的，为什么呢？也是醒了这些洗澡啊，要么子。所以我们学校是比较正规的，晓得吧？
不能打，不接受。
教育局也不允许，晓得不？现在个
不接受的。
比较最主要的就是呢，通过军事法的默认呢，再加上心理老师的引导呢。 两个的性格是扭转过来，你靠打也冇用的，你在屋里你可以打不赢。
Despite this claim, BBC Eye has evidence of over 20 former students, including Bao Bao, who claimed there was physical abuse.
他说不会有任何殴打、体罚、打骂，但其实基本上你进这个学校里面，你无时无刻都在体罚你的舞蹈，或者是你的一些军体拳，不整齐，做得非常差，那么都会迎来体罚。基本上那个同学他的被打的那个地方是会黑的，就是。
BBC Eye also heard claims of a sexual abuse.
到晚上10点钟的时候，就可以坐到自己床上去，然后就可以睡觉了。负责看着我们的陪寝教官，然后他就把我。 拎着我的头发就把我拎到地上，然后就对我实施了一个性侵。像这样的性侵，我在里面一共遭受过3次。
When Enshu first disappeared, her friend Wang put out a series of alerts on social media and also reported her missing to the police.
他们花了10几天的时间，得出了一个结论，就是张旭没有被非法限制人身自由。
我全程在圣魔当中待了1个月，都没有，就是和外界有任何的沟通，所以我才在里面去和其他同学一起写，就是联名信啊，包括去记录里面发生的事情。军训的话，其实可以说是每时每刻都是在高压的训练当中的，让学员去做的量都是非常非常大的，像俯卧撑这种可能都是1000个起做。
Enshu's letters were smuggled out and sent to Wang. He posted them online, and they soon went viral. As public pressure grew, after a month inside, Enshu was finally allowed to leave, and the school was shut down.
到在这个时候，我们才感觉到非常的高兴，非常的兴奋，就是受害者都被救出来了。
The local education board published their reasons: violating education regulations, excessive tuition fees, providing boarding facilities. There was no mention of the physical and sexual abuse allegations. Thousands of miles away in Australia, Muzhou is bringing a case against Li Zhen.
现在李征的这个受害者大概是在10名左右，但是其实我们有一个群，这个群里边的受害者数量会更多，大概能有100人，但是就是很多人是不愿意提起来。
The network operates the disciplinary school through a complex set of companies, all registered to Li Zhen or his associates.
每当有一次舆论冲击的时候，他就会更换一次名字，或者是更换法定代理人。一旦有一个机构被检查的时候，就会有一个大巴过来，然后把这些学生全部都给拉走，然后放到其他的这样的一个机构，在不同的机构之间转移。
Muzhou works closely with Wang to help free victims from other disciplinary schools across China. So far, they have rescued 13 students. Wang believes he's found another disciplinary school unconnected to Li Zhen's network, but he needs more evidence.
这个就是呢，我这个自主研发的这款啊。
He installs a camera in his apartment. Pretending to be a parent, he contacts the school to arrange for his problem son, a 20-year-old volunteer, to be collected. The next day, 3 men arrive at the apartment.
有没有人就是你这信息被盗用，去拿你这个公众号去刷那些广告网站，你作为公民有没有义务配合公安机关调查呀？
As soon as they get outside, the volunteer makes a run for it.
报警！公安机关了。报警！要报警吗？报警！报警！重点在这儿。
Wang not only got proof that the school abducts adults, he has caught them impersonating the police.
从他拿出警察证亮出来那一刻，他就完蛋了。
Wang was able to get the volunteer out of the school the same day. As for Li Zhen, the military veteran who ran the schools, both Enshu and Baobao were held in. The police told Enshu that he was arrested on charges of involvement in organized crime. But despite multiple attempts, we were unable to confirm this with police. However, BBC Eye has discovered that his network still appears to be operating. Researchers went undercover. They meet Tang Chao, Li Zhen's right-hand man. He is helping a colleague set up a new school.
别的这边呢，刚开始刚开始10多天这个学校，曾经我们是同事，在一个集团里面工作。
Li Yunfeng is Tang's colleague.
你也是集团的创办人？
不是创办人，我是集团的元老。
元老
啊，元老。
那是有一个老板。
还是有一个老板。
老板叫什么名字？
这个不方便透露啊。
我这个明白。OK， 没关系，我们老板也不。
但是他呢，他是退伍军人。
They refuse to name him, but the profile fits Li Zhen, a military man and the former boss of both men. They go on to give more clues.
也是家人那边投诉吧，出了一些事，然后集团就目前虽然还没有解散，但是也到了解散边缘，然后就跳出来了。
来感受一下我们的校长。
They reveal the sort of money they could all make.
我一个学生20万，10个学生200万，100个学生是2000万，他这全是现金的，全是现金的。
There are still hundreds of young people trapped inside disciplinary schools across China. For Baobao, she's determined to move forward.
其实我现在19岁了，我现在已经到了两边都能理解的状态。我已经能理解当时的我在做什么，我也能理解我妈妈为什么把我送那所学校。我觉得她是被就学校她宣传的词给洗脑了，她太想让我变听话了，她太想让我成为她想要的那种理想女儿了。
Enshu and Wang continue their campaign to close all disciplinary schools.
对比当时在圣博里面的时候，就是完全没有办法预料到自己什么时候能得救，也没有办法预料到像是自己20岁的生日能够像现在这样很开心的和自己的朋友一起度过。
The BBC has been told Li Zhen was sentenced, but despite multiple attempts, we were unable to confirm this with police. Adverts produced by his schools continue to target parents.
Here's some more thought-provoking content from the World Service this week. The Climate Question podcast has taken a look at a drastic new anti-carbon measure being adopted by a growing number of countries, banning fossil fuel adverts. Should petrol cars and airline tickets be put in the same category as tobacco or sugary drinks? And can a ban actually do anything to reduce emissions? You can catch the Climate Question podcast Envision on the BBC World Service YouTube channel or on BBC Sounds or wherever you get your podcasts. Now to India, where despite laws prohibiting the practice, millions of girls are still married off in childhood, limiting their futures to a life of domestic chores and few opportunities. But a growing number of girls are now pushing back in an unexpected way, through sport, becoming financially independent and carving out their own identities. Sport is also transforming the lives of members of the marginalized Siddi community, descendants of Africans brought to India largely as enslaved people, helping them challenge discrimination and claim new opportunities. Divya Arya reports from India.
In India, millions of girls are unable to chase their dreams as they are married in childhood or because their community lives on the margins. But what if these girls played and used sport to reimagine their invisible lives, to finally be seen? Munna was only 14 when she was told she would be a bride. Child marriage is illegal in India, but the United Nations estimates that 216 million girls and women have been married before they turned 18.
रोने लग गई मैंने बोला मुझे अभी शादी नहीं करनी है क्योंकि मैं 9th क्लास में थी मुझे अभी पढ़ाई करनी है.
Munna's mother was a child bride herself and arranged for Munna's older sister to have a child marriage. Authorities try to stop child marriages, but they say they often get little cooperation from local communities.
आज कोई बाहर जावे बच्चियां तो सीधे कहे बटेगी बगड़ जाई भाग जाई यान कहवे दुनिया वो छन्ने होता है काम कोई कार्ड आड़ कुछ नहीं छिपाया कोई टेंट वगैरह कुछ नहीं लगाया मैं.
Munna too may have become a child bride, but she was introduced to football by a women's rights organization. The Football for Freedom project has trained over 800 girls across 13 villages in Rajasthan over the past decade. And it's taught them much more than just sport.
जब हमने काम शुरू किया तो लड़कियों को एक तरह से उनके अधिकारों की जानकारी देना, संविधान क्या कहता है, बाल विवाह के नफा नुकसान क्या है, क्योंकि लड़कियां बाहर निकल रही थी, लड़कियां अपनी आवाज उठाने लग गई थी.
The exposure via playing football, traveling for tournaments, and the knowledge of their rights can empower girls. But the pressure to marry is constant.
It's like life finds a new path, a rebellion via sport, but the threat of brakes being applied is constant. Who decides who gets to play? Where can champions come from? As Munna battles this widespread but illegal practice of child marriage, hidden in a remote part of Western India, girls from a minority community have their own challenges, and they are trying to find their way out via sport.
Meet the Siddis, an African origin community living in isolation in India. Till sports brought some of them into global spotlight. Shaheen Darjada is a judo champion from the western state of Gujarat. In September 2025, she created history for her community and for her country. Competing in the 57 kg category, she became the first Indian to win a gold medal at the Asian Junior Judo Championship in Indonesia.
मुझे मेरी खुद की एक पहचान बनानी है. लोग बोले कि मुझे शाहीन की तरह बनना है.
Judo has brought Shaheen to this state-of-the-art facility in Ahmedabad, a city of over 5 million people. Back in her village, girls lead a very simple life.
वो 8 या 10 तक पढ़ाई करती है, फिर छोड़ देते हैं और घर पे काम और ऐसे मजदूरी और शादी फिर कर लेते हैं। कुछ कुछ होते हैं वो बाहर जाते हैं अभी देख देख के, वरना पहले ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता था।
The Siddhis were brought to India mostly as slave labor centuries earlier. Slavery had been abolished about 150 years ago, but their distinct features marked them out. And they still faced stigma and discrimination.
कोई बताते थे अफ्रीका से आए, अफ्रीकन है, ये लोग अफ्रीका है, कोई वेस्ट इंडीज बोलते थे कि वेस्ट इंडीज है। पहले तो हमारा कोई ऐसा था कि मेरे को पानी भी पीने की इजाज़त नहीं थी, हमें ऐसे पानी दे के पिलाया जाता था, वाटके में लेके खोबे में डाल के।
Even as social attitudes changed, the around 20,000 members of the Siddhi community in India remained reclusive.
It's a community that is invisible to most in the country. Seeing it in ghettos, in villages and small towns, living in poverty with lack of education and minimal exposure to the opportunities and world outside, for children here, sports is not just about trophies and medals. It's playing to be seen.
Most Siddhi girls only have access to basic resources like this abandoned mill compound. Now, with guidance from community leaders and sports schemes aimed at developing their potential, some girls like Shaheen are able to step out.
हम भी तालुका लेवल पर जाते हैं और टैलेंट को ढूंढते हैं। छोटे छोटे बच्चे लाइक 10-11 साल के, 12 साल के, 13 साल के फाइंड करते हैं कौन सा बच्चा किस गेम के लिए सूटेबल है। रनिंग बहुत अच्छी है तो दे गॉट एथलेटिक्स। जिनके पास पावर एंड स्पीड अच्छी है वो उनको हम जूडो में लेते हैं जिससे कि वो अच्छा ट्रेन कर पाएँ जूडो के अंदर।
Back home, Shaheen is a hero. She is proud of her medal win, but wants to drive bigger change.
इतना करना है कि नहीं सिद्धि समाज में भी सब ऐसे कर सकते हैं कि हम भी निकल सकते हैं आगे।
Football helped Munna to escape child marriage, and she is now qualified as coach. She now hopes to help other girls find freedom through sport.
मेरी सोच है कि मैं अपनी गांव की लड़कियों को बाहर निकाल पाऊंगी, मतलब शादी को उनकी रोक पाऊंगी कि मतलब शादी तो करेंगे उनकी, लेकिन उनके सपने तो पूरे करेंगी वो कि मुझे क्या बनना है, अपनी लाइफ में क्या करना है।
The girls who are playing to be seen, dreaming, winning, and becoming champions of their own lives.
Thanks for joining me in Singapore. We would love your feedback on Global Eye, so let us know what you think on social media using the hashtag BBC Global Eye. We'll be back next week. Goodbye.